No heroes. No heroes. No heroes, baby.
Hey guys, Skip here with another Topcut Breakdown. Paris Regionals just concluded a couple of hours ago, and we have an insane result because a teenager won the entire thing. Gaston, Frenchman, took it down with Doffy, and yeah, we're here to check out which decks made it to the top cut and to look at some individual deck lists as well. So as you guys can see, we still have Shanks as the most represented deck overall and in the top cut, followed by Teach, followed by Doffy. Nothing too special, and we see that Lim, Teach, and no, not Teach, Lim and Rob Lucci are still in the next seat, and Usopp is up there as well. And funnily enough, these two Usopps that topped are the same Usopps, are two of the same Usopps that also topped in London, but we'll get to their deck lists in a bit. We also have one ST10 Luffy, RP Luffy, one Bonnie, one blue Nami, one red green Smoker, and a red blue Marco, also piloted by a player that was also in the London top cut. Playing a different deck though, obviously he didn't top with Marco back then. And yeah, two purple Luffys, which I didn't mention, but this time we also have purple Luffy and Bonnie in here. So yeah, sort of this meta right now is really wild. You expect these Shanks and Teach and Doffy decks, and by now I think Lucci and Lim are quite established as well, but the rest is like really wild, and anything can top, as we can see. It's kind of hard to prep for, but also exciting for, just to have some hype moments and see some less common decks make some big performances. So let's jump into the deck lists right away. We have our winner deck list piloted by Gaston 78910. I think he's only 15 years old, from France, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, he just took the whole thing down with a newly adapted Doffy list. This is similar to what we saw Enrico Maria play in London, the double 7-cost Doffy. And yeah, we also have this red rock tendency in favor of Gravity Blade. A lot of people even cut Gravity Blade completely, but we still see the one-off. With Perona, you can always like pseudo search all cards in your deck, so still useful to have, especially for the mirror and limb matchup. Just a lot of spots where it's still applicable, and we do see double Kaya as well to sort of filter those dead events and non-counter cards when we need to. So congratulations to the very young Gaston, already claiming his title of Supernova, and the worst generation is about to come. Congratulations, my friend. Next up, we do have another popular face, Angelo Torricello. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, mate. This guy made it to the finals this time. Wasn't able to withstand the aggression from Gaston, but he has been also topping constantly these past few events. On his trusty Blackbeard, he was also topping Utrecht. I think he was top 4 at Utrecht finals, losing to Enrico Maria in a BY versus Doffy matchup, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, Angelo has been spamming insane results for the last 6 months, and this time doing it with the really interesting Teach list, like sort of deviating from the trend. He doesn't play any 4-cost Shiryu. Back to Q Laboon, so really respecting the Doffy matchup. And yeah, this is sort of standard, what you would have expected going into OP10, I think. Like, still staying with Laboon Q, still having Van Augur in there. And obviously worked really well for him, still respecting Doffy a lot. We're just gonna go ahead and look at another Blackbeard deck list right away. Because it's from someone from my testing group, and really happy that he also got a top 16 with Blackbeard, but I just want to showcase the difference in these Blackbeard builds right away. We do have the one cost VV, which when this card was a prize card, everybody was like, oh my god, this garbage card is never going to see any play, and now it's a 4 off in the top 16 list, and a lot of Blackbeard players actually are now tending towards this, because it's just cheaper Vasco shot. Like the condition, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, this character gains blocker is instantly met, like as soon as you would even play it. So yeah, it's just cheaper Vasco shot, and this 1 don difference. I mean, Vasco shot is 100% more expensive, so that can make a lot of difference. You all know how it goes, like 1k can decide an entire game, and this 1 don is often like 1 more don attached to a leader swing or whatever, and that can always make a difference. Still playing the 1 Vasco shot though, and also Katarina Devon, so a lot more blocker heavy. And we do see the playset of Shiryu. Therefore, no Liberation, because Shiryu and Liberation also have like some anti-synergy, of course, because you put down a body that's going to stay on for the entire match, likely being the 7k on defense, and obviously remove something at the same time. And yeah, I just think it's really interesting to see these different approaches, which obviously work differently well against certain matchups. So congratulations to those players. Let's look at another top 4 deck list, or our first top 4 deck list, which is Nami. So we just saw Nami win in America, actually, the entire event. And now we see another top 4 finish. So it seems like with all these Shanks running around, and maybe also Blackbeard players that don't know entirely how to pilot the matchup, that Nami is making some good results again. And we can also see that the deck list has transformed a bit. Like Nojiko wasn't in here for the most part. Arabesque Brick Fist wasn't here, so we are relying on some tempo plays to deal with, I guess, something like Doffy, Purple Luffy. Nojiko was notoriously really good against Black Yellow, but I guess this also helps against Lim quite a bit. And there's also Gravity Blade. We favor Overheat instead of the Snake Dance, so this lets us bounce an active character with a cost of 3 or less. So this also would allow us to bounce opponents, for example 3-cost Sanji, which gives it that additional defensive flexibility. And the spicy Cavendish makes a lot of sense, I think, in decks that cannot remove him, which I guess there aren't too many, but in some cases, I guess this guy just gets to draw 2 and also helps you clear the board a bit, staying healthier. So congrats to Elcaro. And our other top 4 deck list was Vince on his Lim. So yeah, we do see that Hanos and Flash's performances weren't just flukes, and that even if people know what the deck does, it's still powerful. Like 3 limbs made it to Topcut. Unfortunately, we don't have the entire representation of what the 1,000-player spread looked like, but yeah, also interesting to see that this deck actually approaches things a little bit different. Like we don't have the Orochi, but we chose another 1-drop 2k, which is the Apu, which allows you to rest a 2-cost or less on play, which is just useful against general stuff. Like you can rest 2-cost Rosinante, you can rest opposing 1-cost limbs, I guess. Just a lot of useful things with this, and has its own upsides in comparison to Orochi. And we see a playset of Blast Breath, actually, and 2 top knots. So yeah, just going for some powerful defensive options, especially with how little bricks this runs. Like we only have Sakazuki, Lim, and I guess the top knots as non-counter. So in the defensive side, we can like really create some situations where we have to like bait, or we can bait our opponents to go for game, and then we just have endless counter. And also like a sneaky tag of Nico Robin, which says if you have 2 or more arrested characters, none of your Odyssey or Straw Hat type crew characters can be KO'd by effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. So just some protection against some uprising Luccis or Usopp decks maybe. Works against Shanks as well, of course. So quite the interesting tech, in my opinion. And congratulations to Vince. Moving on to a top 8 deck list, we have another one of our testing groups, which is German player Zyrios with his Shanks deck list. Just coming back from Athens, he was intending to not play Shanks again, but decided to give it one last shot and was rewarded with the 9-1 run in Swiss and making it to top 8 in the Topcut. So huge shout out there. Sort of standard build. I mean, we still have the Straw Hat early game consistency package, but decide to play with Uta so we can find our 10 drops and especially our backman. Also Lucky Roo on curve, of course, in matchups that we needed against. So nothing special, just going for maximum consistency, and 2 of KO Shanks, actually quite significant. Like, this card is really underrated. Can be really good in the mirror, especially going first. Like, if you drop Hongo and maybe play a 5-drop, then you threaten to KO their 10-drop with your 10-drop, which is obviously very insane tempo gain. And yeah, it's just insane against Purple Luffy and Bonnie. Has a lot of applications in the meta, so congrats to Zyrios. Next up, we do have another well-known face by now, Qi Xu, who made it to London Topcut with an impressive 9-1 Usopp performance into a top 16, if I'm not mistaken. And this time actually going 10-0 in Swiss to then lose in top 16 to Fabi, whose Doffy list we're not going to look at right now, but just because of time constraints. But yeah, it's quite interesting to see that he's just able to put out such dominating Usopp performances with a fairly standard list. Like, still, it's not like he's reinventing the wheel. There's this triple King Kong gun, which we saw in his last list as well. And he picked up from Roberto Leon that Gyatz may actually be quite a nice tech. So I think he adjusted some ratios to last time and decided to cut down on Toy Soldier in favor of Gyatz. So that's really interesting to see how he adapted. And despite this, like, Shanks infested meta, he's still doing well with Usopp. So maybe he's found a way to make the matchup not as bad as people think it is. And against everything else, yeah, Usopp can just do a lot by playing it well. So on that caveat, we are going to, of course, huge congrats to Qi. And we are jumping to our next player, which we also saw in London with Usopp, but a completely different deck build. And that's Mirko Zanelli, Progress2126, with his version of Saka Usopp, as they call it. And we also see some interesting adjustments to last week's list. He cut down on Frankie, Josu, Tempest Kick, and Toy Soldier, I think, to put in 2 3K Worlds and 2 Momonoskes. So, I mean, last week he finished top 32, I think, and now he made it to top 16, so seems like those improvements did what they had to. And yeah, this list is really, really interesting. Try it out for yourselves, guys, and congrats again for topping with such an unique and interesting cook. And I'm excited to see how much further they will take it. To keep things spicy, we are going to look at Raphael Neven's Marco list here. He finished top 32, losing to Blackbeard, which I assume is also quite a bad matchup. I mean, this is the animal build of Marco. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this, but there's been a couple of people that have been running this on fairly high ladder sim, and yeah, it just revolves around, of course, 3-cost chopper and the animal package in the other blocker chopper, Richie. Those are your main animals. You also have the 2K super spot Bilder. But the thing with Marco is that you can just put a target for Chopper or a target for your event on top, and then you never whiff, get your best target most of the time. And there's also like this added benefit of these two animals being targets for Ivankov. That's sort of the tricky little synergy. And yeah, then we just top out our list. Like, we don't play any Rayleigh or Sanji. We just play good 5-drops that are sticky. So against those removal intensive decks like black and red, like Shanks, we just play these guys. Then we have Josu, who's just like a straight up good card, allows us to recycle Otamas in certain cases, and play set of Newgate, which has insane synergy with this 3-cost Chopper and our leader ability. Like, in combination, we can out a 10k body, put in Otama into that equation, and suddenly we can KO a 12k body. Put Monet in there as well, and suddenly she attaches 2 to Chopper, gives -1k herself, buffs one of yours by 1k. So I imagine this can do quite a lot of things, and if something can be KO'd, just Red Rocket, right? And then we have 2 sneaky Seaquakes, just like as some sick tempo plays to, in combination with 3-cost Chopper, Monet, and your leader ability, and Otama, just to out whatever you need to. So huge shout out to, it was actually a 9-1 run as well, so yeah, huge props to that. And maybe we'll see more of Marco. I would certainly appreciate it myself, being a big fan of Marco. And last but not least, yeah, sort of wrong ordering, because this is another top 16 deck list, which is one of the Luccis that made it. Sort of similar lists to what we've seen. I mean, focusing on Kaido and Jack. We do have the Tashigis in there. We do have Kusans again. We do have Manchuris, but this is sort of the unique card in Tanguy's list, and that's the 2-cost Uta, which is basically stage. It's basically in his lobby, but it can be attacked into. But it also can attack, and it doesn't have trigger. But apart from that, it's basically in his lobby. You can tap it once per turn and give -2 cost to an opponent's character. And the thing is that it cannot be KO'd by leaders. So especially against Doffy, this is really good. And yeah, probably pretty good against Shanks as well, because they don't have a lot of small bodies sticking around. So they will have to invest like a backman swing or something into this. And yeah, really cool to see Lucci still be a relevant factor. Gato, Juan Mendez, and El Nino also topped with Lucci actually. And I think both of them lost in top 32. Gato had to play Fabi, and El Nino had to play the only Nami, which is obviously, now that we don't even play 6-cost Brook anymore, a really bad matchup as well. So yeah, sort of rough top cut matchups for them, but I'm sure we will see more of Lucci in the future as well, and we are stoked for Mülheim. So come to Mülheim and say hello. noHEROES staff will be happy to welcome you. And yeah, that was it for today. Just a quick one right after the tournament. And happy Easter, everyone. Hope to see you next time. Bye.